Kia ora koutou, I'm Joanne Hakaraia Olsen. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. Today's video is the beginning of a series of episodes that I would like to share with you. It is a body of wānanga, or body of knowledge, that forms the kaupapa of my new up-and-coming workshops called Kaitohu Wairua. Kaitohu Wairua. And I'll just, for an understanding of what that word means, Kaitohu or tohu means signs and symbols. Kaitohu is a person that can read signs and symbols, can interpret them with ease. Wairua is the spiritual realms. So a Kaitohu Wairua is a person that can read and interpret the signs and symbols around them and in the spiritual realms. So when I say around them, I mean the spiritual realms around them. We can look at the physical surroundings, but the physical surroundings is just that. It's the physical. We need to understand what the physical tohu, the meaning of that. We need to go right to the source, which is in the Wairua, the spiritual realm, and be able to read and interpret that in order for everything to be in alignment in the physical world. I hope that's not, don't let that go over your head. Some of you may have understood that, but if you didn't, don't worry. We go over that in the upcoming episodes. One of the foundational components that we go over is te Whare Kura. Te Whare Kura. Now generally that means a higher school of learning. When, and just a sharing of a pūrākau, when Tāne ascended the aka, or the vine, to go to the highest heaven to retrieve the 3 baskets of knowledge, before he ascended on that journey, he created a Whare Kura before he ascended that aka to retrieve the baskets of knowledge. He created a Whare Kura, which is a school of higher learning, but it can also mean our vessel. A Whare Kura can mean the vessel. A Whare Kura is something that can be housed, which is a school of higher knowledge. So our vessel, our tinana, can also be that Whare Kura. So when the higher knowledge, when we go and retrieve higher knowledge, our vessel needs to have gone through preparation, to have been cleared of stagnation, debris, mental thoughts, emotional thoughts. Any healing that needs to take place so that our vessel is clear and able to hold the higher body of learning that comes down into our being. Because when it's in our being and in our body, then we are able to apply it in our daily life as a practice. So it's continuous mahi to always be clearing. The upkeep of our whare, I feel, is a continuous journey, because we're living life, and things can happen in life that can take us off our pathway many times, but the key is to know when life has taken you off your pathway. It happens to me many times. I know that I have an ara tapu, a sacred pathway that I follow, and I know that when I've been taken off that, or I take myself off it, outside influences might come in and I go off my path. And, it's okay. It happens because we live life. But for me, I know that when I've veered too far off path, things start to happen in my tinana. That's where we notice the signs first. When I've gone off the path too far, there are signs in my body. Things don't feel right. And if it's not in my body, it'll be in my immediate whānau or in my immediate environment, say like the whare, the house that I reside in. Or, something will be out of alignment. And it's really important to know when there are things that are out of alignment. And this is being able to read the tohu and interpret them correctly and with ease. And I keep saying to be able to interpret them correctly and with ease, because I know that trusting in ourselves and being our self-conscious thoughts always will tend to try to hinder the pathway of this of being a Kaitohu Wairua. And this is what we have to work through to break those bonds of being self-conscious and trusting in yourself. We have to break those bonds and threads that keep you attached there, because when we are attached to anything like that, self-conscious thoughts or not trusting in yourself or not feeling good about being able to do this type of mahi, or they create a bond or a thread that is connected to the past, and it's connected to a past event that a Kaitohu Wairua is able to read, is able to read and interpret to help the person unravel that event. So that's a Kaitohu Wairua, being able to read signs and symbols not only around themselves but also around other people when they ask for guidance. It's really important to be mindful that there is etiquette, there is spiritual etiquette with other people. We know, as a matakite myself and a Kaitohu Wairua, I know when someone's reading me, because it feels like a violation and it feels uncomfortable and it's rude. It is rude. And so there is an etiquette to this mahi, that we don't spiritually read people when they haven't asked. You need permission to be able to go into those spaces, and it's really important to know of the spiritual tikanga, the tikanga that goes with that. There's so much around that. Another foundational component is being in a state of sacred presence, being in a state of sacred presence or neutrality, and being able to go into that space at any time. And so this means threads and cords, connections to the past. The ego must dissolve in an instant. So when you're in a neutral space, there's nothing attached. You are just in that deep present moment, because when you're in that deep present moment, you're not connected to the past, you're not connected to the future, you are just present. You are fully in your vessel, but you are an empty vessel because there is no mind attached. There is no connections to the past or future. You are here now. When you are in a state of sacred presence or here now, that is when you are in your power, when you are in your sacred power, because everything can happen in that moment. You become a vessel. You are timeless. You are weightless. And in that moment, you are able to sense everything around you, but not mentally read it or try to even understand it. Because when you try to understand something, it brings you straight back into your mind, and that's not where we want to be. We need to be in a space of neutrality where the vastness is great. You're in this big, huge vastness of space. It is tapu, so it is a state of sacred presence, and you are a vessel. You become a vessel. We need to be able to learn how to instantly go into that space, and we go over practices that can help you get there. So when I talk about dissolving all those threads in an instance, that can be done and will be done, because you can always pick up those threads again when you're not doing the mahi. That's the beauty about being in a state of sacred presence, is that you can pick up the threads if you want to after you've done the mahi, after you've done the mahi of a Kaitohu Wairua. Another foundation is the spiritual heart, or the Manawa. This is where you know your truth. This is where, when you know you are in alignment. The spiritual heart is a vibration, it's frequency, it is resonance. And the resonance has a vibration that feels tika and pono. It feels right. It feels perfect. It feels like truth. The spiritual heart is truth. You know when you are in your truth. You know when you are in alignment, when your spiritual heart resonates to the sound of truth. And the sound of truth is a frequency or a vibration. It's a symphony. It's a symphony of sound of a universe. A universe. It sounds perfect. And that is when you know when you're in alignment. Everything sounds, the sound, the universe, the waiata, the song, the rangi sounds perfect. When you are not on your spiritual, when you are not following your truth, or when something, the answer is no, a resounding no, your spiritual heart, your truth, the vibration is out of tune. It can feel off, it can feel cold, it's the note, it is off key. And you know this because it doesn't resound with resonance. Resonance is a key word. So that is a foundation, to know the spiritual heart, to know your truth, to know when you're in alignment. So when you're reading tohu, when you're doing the mahi of a Kaitohu Wairua, you need to be able to listen to your spiritual heart and to know when you're in alignment and off key. Ka pai. So those are the three foundations that are imperative to embody before we embark on the sacred path of being a Kaitohu Wairua. Those three foundational components again are te Whare Kura, or preparing the vessel, te Manawa, or the spiritual heart, and Wairua Tapu, or being in a state of sacred presence. Those are the three main foundational components that are part of the body of wānanga in my up-and-coming workshop, Kaitohu Wairua. And today's video is an introduction of a series of episodes that I'll be sharing over the coming weeks. If you are interested in your workshop, feel free to go to my website to learn a bit more about the workshops and when they are. Ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Have a wonderful day.